Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to talk about the diseases of the cornea. What is cornea? It is the anterior 1/6 of the fibrous coat of the eyeball. You are all very well aware of the three coats of the eyeball: the fibrous coat, the vascular coat, and the nervous coat. The fibrous coat consists of the sclera, 5/6 of the portion, and 1/6 of the portion is transparent cornea. How a patient of corneal disease can present? A young farmer got a trauma with vegetable stick during harvesting 1 week ago. Now he has presented with pain. The patient can have pain when there is involvement of the cornea. Photophobia is insensitivity to the light. The patient is unable to open the eyes in the light. Watering, whenever there is insult to the cornea, there can be watering. Discharge is a sign and indication of infective element and decrease in the vision. The normal function of the cornea is to have a clear vision. The cornea is clear. It has to be absolutely clear. And if this clarity is compromised by some disease, by corneal edema or opacification or any other things, then the patient is likely to have decrease in the vision. Now, what important steps will you carry out in management of this patient? The important steps are, you need to know what are the clinical features with which the patient can present. I have narrated a few: one, pain, photophobia, watering, discharge, and decrease in the vision. What investigations are required to confirm your diagnosis, whether the disease, the nature of the disease, the progression of the disease, and the treatment modalities which are required, and in the end, how you can avoid complications which can lead to the decrease in the vision. These are the steps which you need in the management of this patient. And before we go to the clinical presentation and the investigations of the corneal diseases, I think I would need to just to recall the anatomy and physiology of the cornea. As you know, the anatomy, this is a histological slide of the cornea. Epithelium, Bowman's membrane, this largest portion of the stroma, and then there is Descemet's membrane and the endothelium. The epithelium consists of its stratified squamous epithelium, non-keratinized. Stratified squamous epithelium, non-keratinized, and it is also covered by a tear film. Tear film consists of three constituents: a lipid layer, which doesn't allow it to evaporate, the aqueous layer, which is produced by the main lacrimal gland and the accessory lacrimal glands, and the mucus layer, which actually helps in maintaining the integrity of the anterior surface of the cornea by converting this hydrophobic surface into a hydrophilic surface that allows the adherence of the tear film on the anterior surface of the cornea. These are different type of cells: basal, columnar cells. These are wing cells or umbrella cells, two layers, and then there are squamous cells. These are called surface cells. They also have microblici and microvilli over there. They increase the surface area, and that allows the adherence of this tear film on the anterior surface of the cornea. Then there is a Bowman's membrane, that is a fibrous membrane, which lies on the anterior portion of the stroma. The stroma is the largest and the thickest portion of the cornea that consists of collagen fibrils. They are arranged in a definitive pattern which allows the clarity of this cornea. The parallel fibrils are arranged in such a way that light does not scatter through. And then there is a Descemet's membrane. This is elastic membrane that can resist the perforation of the eye by forming the descemetocele. And then at the end there is endothelium. This is histological features of the cornea. Why the cornea is clear? What are the factors which actually help in maintenance of this clarity of the cornea? Number one is epithelium. Epithelium is stratified squamous epithelium. And if there is epithelial edema because of the trauma or because of some toxications, the patient can have corneal edema, epithelial corneal edema, and the clarity of the cornea can be compromised. Then I have already told you कि specific arrangement of the stromal fibrils. जो collagen fibrils हैं उनकी जो specific arrangement है in the stroma, the fibrils are in parallel sheets, and they not only give strength to the cornea, but they also help in maintaining the corneal clarity. And in the stroma, the fibroblasts which are present, which are keratocytes, they are flattened to allow the evenness of the surface of the cornea. Then there is absence of the vessels. The cornea is devoid of the blood vessels. Only the peripheral 1 to 2 millimeter of the cornea has vessels to help the nourishment of the cornea. 80% of the corneal oxygen is taken up from the atmosphere, taken up by the epithelium from the atmosphere. Then there is absence of the pigments. This is not fibrils. Absence of the pigments from the cornea. That is also a part of the corneal clarity factors. Then what is the role of the endothelium? The role of the endothelium is it actually pumps out the water from the corneal stroma into the aqueous humor. They use energy, they use ATPs to do this and to keep this cornea in a relative state of dehydration. This is the role of the endothelium. And then the shape of the cornea is also very important. If the cornea loses its shape because of thinning of the cornea, because of opacification of the cornea, then the corneal clarity is compromised. Again, to recall, the main things are endothelium, specific arrangement of the stromal fibrils, presence of the epithelium, absence of the vessels, and absence of the pigments from the cornea. How we can examine the cornea? The cornea can be examined by a simple torch. It can give you an idea. You can use magnifications in the form of loops. And the best examination is possible with the help of slit lamp. This is called slit lamp examination. And slit lamp, as you know, is a biomicroscope. You can have a magnified view and, of course, a cross-sectional view of the cornea like this. This is the anterior surface of the cornea and this is the posterior surface of the cornea. This slit enables you to find out whether the diseased portion is present in the epithelium, in the stroma, or in the endothelium. And this is how it can be recorded on a page. This is pigment which is present. This is brownish one. This is a pigment. This is creative precipitate, which is yellowish in color. This is present on the endothelial surface of the cornea. And then this is a scar. Whenever there is insult of the corneal stroma that leaves a scar, the intensity of the scar can be graded. We'll talk later. And this is epithelium. The epithelial lesions, they are shown in these small circles. And then this is the anterior chamber. This is iris, and this is the cornea. The presence of pus in the anterior chamber. This can also be written like this, and it can be shown in this picture in diagram. How the the events can take place. The patient can have trauma, or there are certain bacteria which can penetrate in the intact epithelium. Most of the times, the immunity of the host determines the disease. Trauma leads to a breach in the anterior surface of the epithelium, and that allows the bacteria or fungi or viruses to enter into the corneal surface. And I have told you there are certain bacteria which can penetrate intact epithelium if they happen to have to stick onto the epithelial surface of the cornea. They can penetrate in itself because of their high virulence. The microbials like bacteria, fungi, protozoan, they can go into the cornea. They can start the inflammation. These are different stages of inoculation, then inflammation, then there is resolution. Resolution is when the disease starts resolving, and this is the end result. When the disease resolves, the patient can end up with opacification, corneal edema, vascularization, corneal thinning, uneven surface of the cornea, and even the patient can have perforation. This is how the disease process goes: trauma, inoculation of microbials, then inflammation, then resolution, opacification, edema, vascularization, and perforation. And how does actually the surface of the cornea looks? This is a slit lamp examination. This is, you see, this cornea has become opacified and there is a presence of the vessels which is encroaching more portion than the normal. This is corneal vascularization along with the opacification, and these are subepithelial corneal infiltrates, which also leads to a decrease in the vision because the corneal clarity is compromised. And this is another slide which shows intense inflammation which has led to the vascularization, corneal vascularization along with corneal opacification. You see what is this? The central portion has a denser whitish opacification, slightly lesser. This opacification of the cornea is graded as nebula, macula, and leucoma. Leucoma is a condition from which the underlying structures are not visible. This is called leucoma, and this is a the peripheral portion of this is having macula, the very hazy view of the underlying structures like iris and pupil is visible. And nebula is a condition in which you can see the underlying structures, but there is a slight haze. This is the grading of this corneal opacity, and this is vascularized. This is vascular leucoma, and if it happens to have a perforation and the iris that seals this area of the perforation, and there is a formation of leukoma, that is called adherent leukoma. That means the iris is adhered to the posterior surface of the cornea to form this dense opacity, then dense whitish opacity scar. This is called leukoma. Here you can see another type of opacification, and this is breaks in the descemet membrane. This is breaks in the descemet membrane, and what is this? This reddish picture that shows you when we are examining under the slit lamp biomicroscope, that this is a phenomena which is called retroillumination that actually shows a sort of red reflex like distant direct ophthalmoscopy, and in the light reflex you can see there are few zigzag lines, and these are basically the ghost vessels which are present after the inflammation of the cornea is healed. The vessels which were grown, they have receded, and they are having no blood column in these node. These are ghost vessels which you can see against the red reflex or the retroillumination. Now, once you consider the scenario which I have told you, a patient who has come to you after trauma, pain, photophobia, and you want to know the type of organisms which are involved, you can have corneal staining. The corneal staining can be done with different dyes. The dyes which are commonly used are number one is fluorescein. This is fluorescein. This is a yellowish dye, and in cobalt blue filter, it looks green. Fluorescein, and this is a rose bengal. Fluorescein and rose bengal, and this is a specific pattern of staining. This is a dendritic ulcer. This is microdendritic ulcers or non-specific ulcers. This is diffuse punctate staining, and this is filaments which are stained red with rose bengal, and this is again a geographical ulcer which is stained with the rose bengal. Rose bengal actually stains the devitalized cells, dead or dying cells, and the fluorescein stains the area which is devoid of the epithelium. Fluorescein stains the area which is devoid of the epithelium, and the rose bengal stains the dead and the dying cells. These help to differentiate whether this corneal insult is caused by the uh, this is specific of herpes simplex, and when it is not treated or it is maltreated, it can lead to geographical ulcer. This is dendritic ulcer, this is geographic ulcer, and this is filamentary keratitis, which can be featured in dry eyes. Filaments are these are long elongated cells. The one end is attached to the epithelium and the other end is free, and up and down with the they move up and down with the movement of the blinking, the movement of the lids, they move up and down. These are called filaments. Filamentary keratitis is a feature of dry eyes and the eyes which lack this normal functioning of the lids. After staining, you can perform scraping. Corneal scraping can be done, and corneal scraping के साथ you can go for gram staining, and gram staining can come up with these type of results. This is gram positive cocci, and this is gram negative rods. and then this scrapping can be placed on different type of culture media to give you culture and sensitivity. You see, this is corneal scrapping. These are gram positive cocci, and these are gram negative rods. The first thing is you stain the cornea and see under the slit lamp by a microscope. And the second thing is you can take up the scrapings from the cornea, and then that can be sent in for gram staining, culture and sensitivity, and that can also be used for examining under the microscope for fungus hyphae. Directly, you can place this scraping on the slide, and then you put in a drop of KOH, and then a drop of cigar wood oil, and then you can directly see under the microscope if the hyphae are present or not, and that confirms the presence of the presence of hyphae confirms that this patient has got fungal infection. Once you have considered these things, gram staining, the other type of investigations which are required for uh, the corneal, when you want to evaluate the cornea, this is a Placido's disc. This is handheld disc which you can use in your outdoor to have an assessment the regularity of the interior surface of the cornea. And if the corneal surface is regular, you will see the impressions of this on the corneal surface of that patient, which are regular. They are their spacing is equal, and are not ovoid. They do not turn to a side, and this is a Placido's disc. Image of this shines on the interior surface of the cornea, and you can very easily see through this area. You can held you can keep in your hand, place in front of your eye a light coming from the side of the patient that falls onto this, and that causes this kind of impression on the anterior surface of the cornea, and that can be seen with this. And the advanced form of this is video keratoscopy or photokratoscopy. You can perform video of that, and you can take photograph of the anterior surface of the cornea. And that is very, very important in evaluating certain diseases of the cornea like keratoconus, keratoglobus, or corneal thinning, or corneal irregularities, or high astigmatism, which is present because of the corneal diseases. This video keratoscopy or photo keratoscopy can be performed like this. This is how this is performed. This is the scanning machine. It projects the image of these circles onto the cornea, and then it receives those, and they can be color coded and represented in the shape of certain scans. The scans look like this. These are this is called corneal topography. Corneal topography scan. There are different type of scans which are available here. Orb scan, the Galili scan, the Pentacam scan. These are different type of scans which are available. Actually, this color coding tells you this red area and this yellow area. This red area is having the maximum curvature. This is having minimum curvature. That means this area is having abnormal curvature, and this is in the normal range. This blue and greenish area that is in the normal range, this yellow and red area that goes in the abnormal range. That means this patient is having a bow tie sign, and bow tie sign means that there is an astigmatism, and which is present in this area of the cornea, and this area is relatively smoother and normal. Topography scans also give you the corneal thickness, that is called pachymetry. They also give you the keratometry, that is the power of the cornea to perform refraction. The keratometry can be given in diopters. That can be given in diopters. The pachymetry actually measures the corneal thickness. The pachymetry measures the corneal thickness, and the keratometry that measures the curvature of the cornea. The normal corneal thickness in the center of the cornea is about 550 microns, and the peripheral areas of the cornea it is about 1 millimeter or about 1000 microns. Normal keratometric readings are 42 diopters, and they are measured in two meridians, horizontal and the ocular microscopy that actually counts the endothelial cells. These are the normal endothelial cells. You see the population of normal endothelial cells, and these are compromised. These are compromised areas of this corneal endothelium. You can see these lacunae are because the new cells they do not regenerate, but if there is a damage to the cells as a result of trauma or aging, the neighboring cells they expand to take up that area. These are the clinical features: the pain, irritation, watering, photophobia, decreased vision. As we are running short of time, I will finish it right now and we will discuss it in tomorrow's lecture again. You are going to have the next session, and the next speaker is ready. He is going to talk his topic right now.